Hello, everybody. I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. We have a major storm system that will bring wintry weather in the form of ice, possible blizzard conditions, and even some heavy rain, thunder sleet, thunder snow, all possible. We could even see an isolated tornado in the northern plains from Iowa to southern Minnesota, while the nation will grip for the potential for a flat-out tornado outbreak in the Gulf Coast. Details coming up in this version of Hutch's Weather.
Now, a Hutch's Weather Update with Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson, brought to you by Robert Gibb and Sons.
All right, thanks for watching. Let's go ahead and put this into motion here. As you can see, the storm system spiraling its way out of the Rockies right up into the upper Midwest. This will bring a band of heavy snow and wind gusts to 50 miles per hour. The pink you see there, icing in the northern plains as this storm system spirals its way through. North winds dumping cold air straight out of the northern plains and Canada into the central plains, where it mixes it up and mingles with some Gulf Coast air down in the deep south. And that means, well, we could see some strong thunderstorms on Friday here and there, but this main event will happen on Saturday in the afternoon. And we could see a flat-out update or an outbreak of numerous tornadic thunderstorms here from the southern plains near Memphis straight south into the Gulf Coast states, Mississippi and Alabama in particular. We're going to go over the latest on that, but first let's take a closer look at what's going on with this system in the northern plains. Here we go. We're zooming right in. And as we do take a look at this, we already have winter storm watches in effect for portions of the Dakotas and into parts of northwestern Minnesota. It all gets started as we go into the Friday evening time frame, but it's really late. So if you have evening plans, you're okay for most of the area to do your driving around. But by 1 o'clock in the morning, be a good time to make sure you're where you want to be, because that's when we'll have these convective bands moving north. You see where it slammed into the cold air and all of the heavy rain became pink? That's sleet. So we could have some accumulating ice out here. And as the wind picks up overnight and into the morning hours, that accumulating ice can cause problems, cause galloping of wires and lines and power transmission lines, and therefore there is the risk of some disruption to power across our area. Now, this is just one high-resolution model's rendition of the forecast. I don't think it's going to play out exactly like this, but we're dialing it in, and most models are beginning to show just a little bit more just agreement in the track of the storm and the timing of the storm. However, because temperatures are huge, a huge impact with this storm system, as will be the moisture available, a lot can change. So the difference between ice, freezing rain, sleet, and heavy snow, not a lot when it comes to a system like this. So we're going to need to be a little patient with that. Saying hi to my viewers out there on YouTube. Thanks, Serenity, for watching. If you do have a question, let me know where you're watching from. Brian's watching from the, well, it looks like Moorhead, Minnesota. What's up? Good to see you out there, Deborah, and hopefully David. We're going to see some rain, much needed rain across portions of Minnesota. Looks like Tucson is where you're watching from, so thanks for watching. How's it going, Hutch? I'm not ready for this event. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about it. We're going to look at a comparison, but what I want to do first and foremost real quickly is go over some of the threats with regards to the southern plains and the central plains states. Then we're going to look at ice accumulation. Over 1/4 of an inch will be possible for some areas. Snow accumulation over 8 inches, and even some places could get over 1 foot of snowfall across North Dakota, South Dakota, and into central and western Minnesota. Those are all real concerns. But first, check this out. I'm going to loop this over here, and let's see if I can find my details. Where'd my details go? I'm looking for my details. If you see them, let me know where they are. Where did my details go? I think they're hiding over here somewhere. Let me see. My apologies. I'm trying to find the latest details here on this storm. I bet you it's back here. Okay. And, all right. There we go. Well, we'll just go ahead and take a look at this as we dive in just a little bit closer. This particular storm, this is the forecast model showing the outbreak happening as we go into Saturday around the midday hour. So overnight, we could have some stout thunderstorms working their way through parts of northern Georgia, pushing their way into Kentucky, Knoxville, Tennessee. And then here we go. This is the main event that will be ongoing as we go into the midday hours and afternoon. And it could last into the deep nighttime hours, something that can be a little bit on the scary side as we go through. Now, notice that that the firing or initialization point of these storms will be all the way out into parts of Louisiana. And so those early onset storms that could really bring the heat with regards to the risk for tornadoes. But those will be persistent with these isolated cells that form out ahead of the main line as we go through even the dark hours in the deep south. So keep that in mind. Now let's get to it and let's take a look at some of the details with regards to the forecast. We're going to compare two models because there's still some disagreement, and we're going to look at the higher resolution models for this. So here we go. Let's start with a look at this model. This is a high resolution rapid update model. It updates hourly, and it's just now coming in, as a matter of fact. So it should be a really good look at the storm system through the northern plains. Now, as we go through your day on Friday, you're looking at 17Z. That's Greenwich Mean Time. That's in Europe. You need to subtract 5 hours for the central time zone here. So that would be about, well, noon. So as you're going through your noon daybreak hour, midday hour, snow showers crossing the state line from eastern Montana and the Big Sky Country into the western part of North Dakota. Then that simply races up into Brandon, Manitoba, Estevan, and really dissipates. Notice the south winds across Minnesota. That's just lacing the air with humid air from the deep south. And as we go into the late hours, here it comes. Ice in pink and peach. Now, we're going to have the potential for a few of these showers and thunderstorms that are winding their way out of Iowa and into southern Minnesota to have spin. This is a warm front. There's going to be some turning in the atmosphere here. I don't think we're going to have an outbreak like our neighbors to the south, but the onset could be with strong thunderstorms in Iowa pushing into southern Minnesota of an isolated tornadic thunder shower. Now, as that energy works its way up into the valley, I'm not concerned about tornadoes, but I am concerned about thunder sleet and thunder snow and heavy accumulation of ice and snow. And take a look at this. Now, this is having some of the heaviest precipitation on the I-29 corridor in South Dakota as we cross through around 8Z. Subtract 5 hours, that's 3 in the morning. So essentially, as I said before, be where you want to be by around 1 o'clock in the morning on Saturday morning. And daybreak could very well be the most tricky time. Look at the heavy bands of snow. Yeah, the I-29 corridor getting shellacked with flakes of snow flying horizontally and 50-mile-per-hour winds. And we're going to see that icing potential moving into northwest and north central Minnesota from Roseau County through the Lake of the Woods area all the way in towards Bemidji. If you know where that is, it's right here. And things could get a little, a little white for sure. Now, this will continue to move and evolve to the north and east as we go through the day on your Saturday. This, again, is at that morning timeline. Some of the strongest winds, heaviest snow, on top of ice that's fallen during the wee hours of the morning in the Red River Valley will happen first thing in the morning on Saturday. It will be most likely the worst time here in Fargo and western Minnesota, and it lasts all the way into the midday hour for parts of western Minnesota before this thing starts to dry up on this particular model as far as the aerial coverage of the snow, but not necessarily the gusty nature of the wind. So that means we're going to continue to see winds buffeting the region, blowing snow, and that sharp drop in temperatures will cause wet roads and slushy roads to almost become solid ice. Ground travel, air travel, all impacted. And with the winds, heavy snow and ice, we're going to have some galloping power lines up here and a chance for some power outages. Now, this is one model's rendition of the track of the storm, and we all got an idea of that. Let's take a look at another model. This one also a high-resolution convective allowing model. Here we go. Boom, boom, boom. There's your showers. There's your sleet. Look at South Dakota, southwestern Minnesota, the I-90 corridor getting hit with that as it works its way through. This particular model only going out just a little bit into your midday on Saturday, but look at this. It's keeping it just out of Fargo on the edge with heavier snow down in places like Otter Tail County for you folks out there in, say, Morris and Benson, down into the Sisseton Hills area. I really have concerns that area is going to see a significant amount of snow. Let's look at another model, shall we? And then we'll go ahead and kind of bury this dig down into what we think and what I think about this storm. Now, this model's just coming in. Let me see. I don't think I want to use this old one. I want to use one that's more newer because I don't want to give you head you to bed here with old information. That's an 18Z. I don't like 18Z model runs, by the way. If you're watching out there in TV world or across the country, and if you like looking at weather models yourself, 0Z and 12Z models by far, my meteorological opinion, 30 plus years of forecasting here, When we're going with these runs from 18Z or 6Z or other hours, we're not using solid initialization data from the whole depths of the atmosphere. It's estimates by models themselves. So we're starting out with model estimates and trying to estimate what's going to happen. That can be a recipe for disaster. Not disaster, but definitely less accurate information. So let's see if we can take a look at this particular model. Heck, let's see what the Canadians have to say here. So Canadians know their snow. Now here we go as we see the Montana snow moving through Friday in the afternoon and evening. Here comes the showers, thunderstorms, sleet, and freezing rain. This is in the valley. The timestamp says 10. You subtract 5, that's 5 in the morning. So the daybreak hours could bring ridiculous winds from the north, very gusty, with accumulating ice. And then on top of it, it changes over to snow as we go through the day. So now I'm going to break this down. We're going to talk a little bit about the track and timing of the storm. Here's snapshot 1, Friday night, 11 o'clock, rain and thunder starts. As we go past 1 a.m., it starts mixing with more ice and snow in our area. Now, we do have that winter storm watch for the parts of North Dakota in the Red River Valley, eastern North Dakota, and into western Minnesota. And that's in effect for this storm system on Friday and into Saturday. Now, Friday late, I should say. So now as we take a look at the strong winds, this is 7 a.m., a snapshot of the wind gust speeds approaching 50 miles per hour. James River Valley, Cheyenne River Valley. We're talking about Aberdeen into Watertown, the I-29 corridor from Grand Forks straight down into Watertown and Brookings. Very windy. And this high wind will shift its way into parts of Minnesota as we go through. Now, if you're in the Twin Cities, if you're in St. Cloud, if you're in down here, say near, well, heck, let's just go down all the way down towards Rochester. These areas will not feel the snow impacts of this storm as greatly, but you could see another one on the heels of this one a couple of days later just for your giggles. Morning conditions, I think, will be the worst at daybreak on Saturday here in the Red River Valley. That includes Grand Forks straight down into the I-29 corridor of Watertown. Western Minnesota still looking ridiculous. We could still be getting rain in Black Duck, Bemidji, and Grand Rapids, Minnesota. Rain, maybe even a rumble of thunder snow or thunder sleet with this. Snowfall accumulations, by the way, in this convective band of snow first thing in the morning could be as high as 2 inches or more of snow per hour of the event. So the snow could really add up quick in those first couple of hours of the morning, the way the models are looking right now. By the time we get to the evening, the snow will be shifting into central and eastern Minnesota. The gustiest of winds will be over there, but we'll still have enough wind and cold air diving in to really freeze things up and cause tricks on our area roads. Shayna, thanks for watching. Driving to Texas tomorrow morning, hoping to miss all of this. It looks like by tomorrow morning, most of the threat will be out of Texas. A little bit of a Waco system working its way through, so I hope you get and arrive safely. Let's go ahead and check a couple of comments. Thanks so very much for watching on my live Facebook feed as well. I'm seeing a ton of you sharing stars with me. Thanks so very much for that. Hello from Detroit Lakes. And again, the snowfall potential with this system varies from model to model, but let's get to it. Here we go. Snow. We're going to start with these large-scale American model and the large-scale European model. I'm not going to dig into these convective models yet. They will show very heavy snow in a narrow band, but it's simply too early to diagnose exactly where that narrow band of the heaviest snow and icing is going to be. That's why I'm choosing to keep it more broad for this scale. What you can see here is from Grand Forks in the Red River Valley counties of North Dakota and Minnesota up into north central Minnesota, and this includes southwest portions of Minnesota and eastern South Dakota. That's where the pink is, and the pink is the heavier snow. So I'm going with and stick with the forecast here along the track of this storm where we see the blues. Most are going to get 1 to 4 inches of snow. All right. And then there's going to be narrow bands or a narrow band, likely a couple of these enhanced bands of snow that will be 4 to 10 plus inches of snow. And by plus, some of these models are throwing out pretty ridiculous amounts approaching 18 or even 20 inches of snow from run to run. Now, here's the European model. And if you've watched my videos, and if you haven't, that's okay, just go back and check some of them out. But what you're going to notice here is that we do have this dark pink color here. The European model has increased the potential for snowfall with this system from the southern Red River Valley through Otter Tail County, Becker County, Monoman County, Norman County, right up into you folks in Park Rapids. If you're in Bemidji, look out, Babe the Blue Ox. You're going to want your shovel out there, or at least the plow, right? And Paul Bunyan, you might want the shovel or the snowblower out there because there could be some very heavy snow sneaking right through northwest Minnesota. I will detail this. This can absolutely shift 50 or 100 miles either way, depending on those temperatures, the all-important temperatures and the moisture flow into the storm. So it's too early to get excited about that. But what I do want to encourage you to do is keep flexible travel plans. Icing, both models looking fairly similar in their location of accumulating ice. The American model says up to 1/2 of an inch. That might be overdoing it. Okay, that might be overdoing it. But even if we get 1/10 of an inch to 2/10 of an inch of ice, and then we coat it with snow, we're going to have some power outage potential, and not promising anything here, but with gusts to 50, power lines can certainly snap and break. The European model, very similar, just a little bit lower on its accumulating ice potential amounts. So if there are questions, let me know. David says, driver, how's it going to be, Hutch? I'm not ready for especially being a truck driver. Yeah, I'll tell you what, driving through this area could be difficult to impossible. The worst time frame is this. From 1 in the morning here in eastern North Dakota through about 10 in the morning. So that 8 to 10 hour window right there is when the Red River Valley in western Minnesota will be seeing the worst of its conditions. The lingering impacts of that just depends on what it's going to do to air travel and road travel across our region. But that brings me to this bit of information that I always like to share with you. HutchesWeather.com, my website. I'm trying to build this very friendly. If you have a suggestion on my website, what I should add, I've got a nice discussion here with some of the graphics we went over here. It's available on the website. Number 2, anytime, anywhere, there's the road conditions tab here, and you can get the very latest in road conditions, closures. You can actually look at the cameras from the DOT department and see where the conditions are the worst, and then you get to make good decisions based on your travel plans and whether or not the roads are even open. That's a possibility. Snowfall amounts, as they come in, you can share those, but you can also share your photos. By clicking on the viewer pics update there, you can upload your photos or look at other photos from around the region. And this is a very powerful tool allowing you to be a part of the weather by sharing your observations of the weather in your area. Because even though the radar might look terrible, it doesn't always end up falling to the ground that terribly. Here's another big button where you can go to push and upload your videos and photos on HutchesWeather.com, much like these shared in the last 24 hours. And if you want to know what the difference between freezing rain and sleet is, Vicky had some sort of a fun little update for us there, and that's one way to look at it. And I had a question on this one. Julie said, near Earhart, look at that streak across the sky. Pulled over to take a beautiful picture of this mysterious sight and question mark, and what you're looking at there is a condensation trail from an aircraft, but it's way up high, and then even higher we have some other clouds, and they're casting shadows on the clouds below from the beautiful moon out there. Speaking of the moon, we have what's going to be an eclipse, and it's going to be peaking as we go from, I wrote the times down here for you, in the central time zone. Just after midnight, it'll be a total eclipse, and that lasts all the way till about 2:30 in the morning. And we're going to have a fair amount of clouds, but there will be some breaks in the clouds here and there to get a view. Let me show you the very latest on the satellite view as we wrap this up, here in the northern plains anyways. And if you are in the central plains, say southern Minnesota, Iowa, you got a great view. Eastern South Dakota down near Sioux Falls, Sioux City, yep, you got a great view out there. But up here we've got some streaming high clouds, and notice there's a break in this band of clouds right here. Some of us will have an opportunity as we go into the midnight hour to see it, and this batch of clearer skies will be slowly drifting to the north and to the east through the night, and that's going to change who will have the chance to see. If you're out west, your chances are much lower. This is where the storm will take hold a little bit earlier as we go into Friday morning. See if we got any more questions. Northern Grace, freezing rain and ice, not nice. I agree with you. Thanks for watching there. And it says, Cheryl says, hello, watching from Nadawash. Good to have you on board. Nadawash could be in the bullseye zone for this particular storm. Let's see if I've got some questions. I'm not trying to miss anybody's questions, but my eyeballs are going like this because they're coming in on both sides of my screen. Sorry about that. Scott says a blood moon indeed. So as the moon glides into the shadow of the earth, the sun's on the other side, Earth is in the way, and our shadow will be cast on the moon. As the moon moves into that shadow, it's going to get redder and redder and more beautifuler and more beautifuler. And if you get photos, I would love to invite you to upload them at HutchesWeather.com. Christy doesn't want snow. Hi from Bemidji says, Sean, good to see you on board. Chrissy, thank you for watching. Connor, can you say hello to G. Reg? he's your biggest fan. If I pronounced it right, G Reg, I appreciate you watching. Thanks for watching. Okay, now let's see what else we got for questions. I'll show you to, okay, somebody's saying that. Lightning strikes, question mark. Holy moly, really? It lights up the sky. So we could have the potential for some lightning. Jen, thanks for stars. Looks like a good time to stay home and save money and watch Hutch Johnson covering the weather as we go into Saturday. I'll be here to keep you updated throughout the event. Watching from Waban, thanks so much, Shelly, for your sharing of stars. Watching from Lake Havasu City in Arizona. Lynn, thank you so much. I was just in that beautiful and warm state, and I got to see snow on the mountain peaks outside of Mesa. It was unbelievable. Grafton is going to be on the edge. And in fact, I do think the chances are greater for Grafton to get some measurable snow as opposed to your neighbors to the west in Park River. And as you go even farther to the west in the Devil's Lake Basin, Maddock and such, I don't think as much. Thunder snow. Ah. And then I got a comment from somebody that says, hey, Hutch, I want to see you play the guitar. Watch this. I'm just going to disappear for a second. And I got to go get it because somebody requested that I play the guitar. I don't need a pick. I got it, though. Yep, it's one of those kind of days. I've got my guitar close because that's all I've done is hang around and study this storm for you. All right, thanks for watching. If you do have questions, I'm going to do my best to answer them, but I will tell you this. Tomorrow, the storm will actually take form. As we take a look at the radar tonight, things are definitely starting to produce some showers out to the west. Big time snow going on in the Rocky Mountains. So let's take a look out there, pardon me, while we go to the snow reports from across the nation, right? Check it out. Let's see what we got here. Well, I know I had them here. Here we go. So out west, we're getting some significant snow. And I showed you on my video last night on my YouTube channel how we could have some ridiculous snow in parts of California. Oh my goodness. Do you see all those red dots? Red dots are not good. As you take a look, when we start seeing red, that's 18 to 24 inches of snow. The darker reds are upwards of 36 inches of snow. What? How about 2 miles north of Bear Valley, California? So you can look at the tabulated version here, and you're going to see 2 miles north of Bear Valley, California. Guess what? This is the same tool I make available to you and to you and to you and you, all of you, on hutchesweather.com. If you go to the snow amounts, this is the page you're going to see. You can go to any part of the nation and check out the reports that have been given. Now, in Idaho, we got ourselves 8 inches of snow up there in the mountains off to the north and east of the basin there near Boise. So good time snow there. And things are just getting rocking in Arizona. Speaking of Arizona, let's take a look at your backyard here as I get out the way. Do you see these little blue dots here? That's 3 to 6 inches of snow reported near Flagstaff. Let me get the measurement. 4.1 inches in Flagstaff and 4.2 inches beating you out, Williams, Arizona. And that's rock and roll. Not like a hurricane, like a winter storm. I wonder if I could write a tune about that. Thanks for watching. Freezing rain is not nice, and it does look like that is the idea. So we're not seeing a lot with regards to snow reports in our area because things are just getting going in Montana. And I have Ryan asking from Mandan, love you guys out there in Burleigh and Morton counties in central North Dakota. Any recommendation on travel between Bismarck and Fargo tomorrow afternoon? Hoping to arrive in Fargo by 6. Good to go. You're going to probably see some rain, and out where you are starting from, there will be a chance for some snow as you go through the late afternoon hours, maybe a little drizzle, but not quite freezing yet. The snow chances will be greater in western North Dakota. I'm talking Billings County, McKenzie County, along the border there with Montana. You know where I mean. Beach, you won't want a beach towel. You might want a snow shovel out there. The snow in western North Dakota won't be as heavy, and your travel time looks to be pretty good there. So for now, it's looking really good, and I don't expect this storm system to be that much faster in arrival. And if you're here by 6, you're going to beat the main event. So that's a look at that, and I hope that helps. All right, Manoman, to get any thunderstorms or just snow? You have a chance at hearing a rumble of thunder out there. Not everybody will. And you're going to see rain for most of Friday night late. And it will last as rain and freezing rain and ice until the morning hours. So I do think we could have some some significant icing there in Monoman County, Nadawash, out towards Bijou, maybe even out towards Boston. You guys could have some icing there as well. All right, that's a look at Hutch's forecast. Chris says his Grand Forks on the edge. You're right on the edge, okay? You're living on the edge. Let's go ahead and zoom into a forecast model here. Bum, 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 bum. See if I can do this. I like to answer questions, so I appreciate your patience with me while I dial up the graphics necessary to look at these. I'm holding my guitar because I don't want to lose it again. All right, let's see. Northern Plains. Let's go here. Let's interact. Let's turn on snowfall amounts. And this is where you'll get a chance to see that different models have different amounts of snow for this. Ooh, here's this one. Let's see what it says. Okay, this is only going to carry us through. Saturday evening. So most of the snow will have fallen. This is an American run, high resolution model. And I will go ahead and point out, let's see, what was the question again? Will flights be delayed or canceled? I cannot, Brady, forecast that, but I can tell you if we get ice in Fargo and snow and wind, there could certainly be delays, and we're not the only game in town. Colorado will be getting some snow, so flights to and from that hub could be impacted. And also, Minneapolis won't have much in the way of snow, but if they're flying into Fargo, it may be delayed. So you're going to have some thoughts on that. Just tuned in. Why do you have a guitar? Crystal, I was just grabbing it because somebody asked for me to play last night, so I didn't play a lot. I just said, living on the edge, thunderstruck, rocking into the night, all good ones. And let's see, we're looking about some forecasts for Grand Forks. This particular model says an inch or less for Grand Forks, lower than that up in Kitson County. And many models have leaned this way. So I do think that these models are onto something. This could shift a little farther to the east, but I don't think so. You know why? Because the warm temperatures associated with this snow on the warm side will keep it rain. So if anything, this heavier band of snow could sneak just a wave or two to the west. And that would put Fargo in more of the eye of the storm, as well as you folks in Grand Forks. Now let's look at another model just to be fair shooting here. And let's take a look at what the Canadian model is saying for snowfall amounts. And it's very similar. So we're starting to see a little bit more of the consensus of what the models are thinking with the storm. And for that, we could say that it's all good. All right, I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson reminding you that hutchesweather.com has all the information that you need to keep you ahead of the storm. If you're visiting hutchesweather.com, oh, we don't need to look at the drought monitor. But by the way, if you are looking at the drought monitor, western North Dakota out into Montana, we have extreme drought going on there, and there's only going to be a little bit of moisture there. On the eastern part of the state of North Dakota, we do have some drought in the southern part of the state, and that is Jim Skippy, where this system is going to bring its wintry weather events. By the way, I was talking to you guys about highs. High temperatures today did not hit records in Fargo. 61, I believe, was a high at the airport. And we did see some low 60s here in parts of the Southern Valley for Fargo and near 60 in Grand Forks. Tomorrow, records will likely be tied or broken in Fargo and Grand Forks. So keep that in mind. And as we take a look at hutchesweather.com, remember, you can get your road reports on hutchesweather.com, just like you see here. Turn the cameras on by toggling them on, and you can look with your own eyes at what's going on. But I'll be here to keep you updated. Until then, that's all I got for you. I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. I really appreciate all of you following me on Facebook. Please keep clicking the follow button. I'm almost to 60,000 followers, and I'm so happy to call each of you a follower. Subscribe on YouTube. Have a great night. Enjoy the warm temperatures tomorrow. And tune in to Hutch for updates right here.